Welcome in to another Running with the Timberwolves podcast on the Believe Sports Network. My name is Gabe Anderson. Well, really, I should say less of a podcast, more of a reaction. As you know, today is opening day for the T-Wolves, and it's some big news came out. Chris Hayes announced that the Timberwolves will award Donte DiVincenzo the starting point guard spot to open the 2025-26 NBA season. Mike Conley will remain a vital piece. More on the association. Obviously, that is not on yet. I think that's on if that's specific time. Oh, actually, it probably already did talk about that on the association. But the big news is that Donte DiVincenzo is going to start for the Timberwolves. Now, this is not unknown territory. Of course, he started 10 games last year, 10 out of his 62 games, and he actually did pretty well for the T-Wolves last year. In fact, he averages 14.6 points, 44% from the field, and 42% from three on 8 shots a game. And he was actually pretty good plus minus, a plus 39. Excuse me. So a lot of fans excited about this. I mean, it's interesting coming right off out of the gates to completely, without really talking about it in the offseason, completely go into the fire here and throw Donte DiVincenzo into the starting lineup. I know a lot of fans have been clamoring for it for a long time. And, I'm happy to see it. I really am. Because, let's be honest, Mike Conley is not going to last forever. And this will help him last a little longer for the stretch runs. And I know Chris, my co-host on this podcast, always talks about it doesn't really matter who starts a game. What matters is who finishes out a game. And if Coach Finch thinks that he wants to go with Conley to end games and thinks that's more important than wasting him, or I don't want to say wasting him, but putting him in the starting lineup, then that is kind of the move here. And then, if Donte is hitting shots on a night, if he's hot, if he's got it going, which I actually think, I've been saying this for a long time, I think Donte DiVincenzo does so much more than just hit shots. He's much more than a shooter. I think he makes the small plays. I think he does things that don't always show up in the box score, but are important winning plays. But I'm excited for this. So, like I said, Donte DiVincenzo going to be starting tonight in the starting lineup. Let me know in the comments what you think about this move. And it's interesting. I was looking at some stats. Donte DiVincenzo is actually played about 73, according to Basketball Reference, 73% of his minutes last year in the role of what would be considered point guard. Now, was he taking the ball up the court all the time? No, but the position he was slotted in was point guard. And a lot of people think that's why he struggled last year, was because he had to take some of the ball handling duties. I don't think it's that big of an issue. I think it gives you more shooting and more playmaking right out of the gates, which is what you want to do. Start strong in the game than Conley, because I just think that Donte, there's way more upside. There's way more things that can go right with Donte DiVincenzo. I think he's a decent defender as well. And there were reports last year that Donte wanted to start anyway, and we really thought those were kiboshed and didn't really take them seriously. But hey, maybe this is reward for a year of hard work. It is interesting what this means for Rob Dillingham. I don't know exactly what this means for Rob Dillingham. Does it mean that Coach Finch doesn't believe in Rob Dillingham? I think it means that he doesn't believe in Rob Dillingham enough to start him on opening nights, but we'll have to see going forward. Coach Finch is going to need to open up his bench a little bit here and there, but shocking to come basically 6 hours before the opener. I'm sure that the parties involved knew that this was going to happen much earlier on. It just didn't go public, I would guess. Or maybe Conley's harboring an injury. I don't think that's it. Possible. Obviously, Ant has back spasms, that he's questionable. He was at shoot-around. I would hope he would play tonight. it seems like every time Ant does have like back spasms or he's on the injured list with maybe an injury, he's questionable, I feel like most of the times he ends up playing. So I would think that he plays tonight. Again, if you're just joining us, Donte DiVincenzo is going to be implemented into the starting lineup tonight against Portland, and Mike Conley moves to the bench, which is interesting how this affects the bench, because what the Wolves had flaunted was a high scoring bench unit that could compete with anybody. Like you got Donte, the whole uh the whole talking point going into the season was, man, these two are going to compete for sixth man of the year, Donte and Nas. Obviously, that's not going to happen if Donte is in the starting lineup for an extended period of time, but be interesting to see Conley coming off the bench, where it's a little bit of a more steady hand off of the bench. You kind of know what you're going to get from Mike Conley on a night-to-night basis. Also, I'm hoping that Mike Conley's floater is better this year, because I was watching last night Marcus Smart with his floater, and it looked pretty good. I hope that Conley can replicate that and hit some floaters tonight off of the bench. It's going to be interesting to see the bench unit. I'm excited to see Terrence Shannon Jr. in extended time tonight. I know me and Chris have had extensive talks about Terrence Shannon Jr., Dillingham, Jalen Clark. I would expect Terrence Shannon Jr. to get a lot of run, but the bench unit is going to look interesting. It's going to look weird seeing Mike Conley coming off the bench. And remember, last time this happened, Coach Finch implemented DiVincenzo into the starting lineup. He implemented him in the starting lineup. Remember, last time this happened, he went to Mike Conley and said, hey, is it cool if I go with DiVincenzo? This was more in like the beginning of the season, earlier on, maybe midway through. And Conley was like, yeah, I'll do it. Yeah, you put him in. If you think that DiVincenzo gives you a better chance to win right now, then absolutely go for it. Put in DiVincenzo, and I'm sure something like that happened now. I'm sure Mike Conley sees that he's, like 37, 38 years old. I think he just had a birthday. I think he sees that and is thinking, this is, I don't care if I start. Like, I don't need to be the guy. I don't need to be Memphis Mike Conley for this team to succeed. I got to go get my ring, and hopefully this is the start of that tonight. But like again, if you're just joining us, Mike Conley is going to the bench. Donte DiVincenzo is starting. By the way, if you're watching on YouTube, by the way, leave a comment. I would love for you to join the live conversation, and as well, subscribe if you're not subscribed already. We're trying to get to 400 subscribers. We'd really like if you joined the live. That would be fantastic. We'd love to connect with you. But again, Donte DiVincenzo starting tonight. And like I said, Donte as a starter for a little bit of a stretch last year, Coach Finch decided to kind of shake up the lineup. He was good. In fact, I'm looking at some of these stats here. Like against Utah, he was a plus 18. Against Charlotte, he was a plus 17. Against Washington, he was a plus 4. Against New Orleans, he was against New Orleans, he was a plus 18. And like I said, 42% from three on 8 shots a game. I will take that every time. In fact, some of the stats even kind of look somewhat similar, maybe not to the same extent, but in the same ballpark as where he was when he was one of the main guys in New York before the trade. Maybe Coach Finch is hoping that this will unlock, which we kind of saw a little bit last year, unlock New York version of Donte DiVincenzo. And like I said, what does this mean for Rob Dillingham? I'm not 100% sure. I do know that me, like Finch, like everyone else, I think, is leery of giving the point guard reins to Rob Dillingham. And when it comes to who's actually handling the ball, I know we saw last night with the Houston Rockets and Amen Thompson. Literally, they would give the ball to Amen Thompson to be point guard, and no one would come take it from him. And then there was literally a play where he had to call a timeout because no one came and got the ball. Like, Side note, why is Reed Shepard, when he's in there, why is he throwing in the inbound pass after a made basket? That makes no sense. They got to figure out there. But the thing is, the Wolves don't have that problem. Anthony Edwards can ball handle. Now, I know tonight he's got, if he plays, which I hope he did, he was a shoot around. I know he's got Tamani Kamara, who's a good defender. I am sure that Portland has had all offseason to come up with some schemes for the Wolves. But, Randall can handle the ball. Rudy can't. let's be completely honest. But being true point guard, I think true point guard is dead in today's NBA. Yes, everybody would love a Chris Paul, right? Like everybody would love to have prime Chris Paul distributing the offense, making all of the plays that you need. And then of course everyone loved Ricky Rubio, right? Like I think the quintessential solid point guard. I think Ricky Rubio is the quintessential solid point guard. Not going to shoot amazing from the field, but he's going to do point guard things. I think if you're a kid or if you were a parent in the 2010s or when Ricky Rubio was on the team and your kid wanted to be a point guard, especially in that day NBA, you show them Ricky Rubio clips to show them how to be a point guard because that he's a quintessential point guard. But I don't think this team necessarily needs one. Do you really lose much ball handling in between Donte DiVincenzo and Mike Conley? I really don't think so. I don't think you lose that much ball movement. And we have a comment here, M. Overland, loving that you are jumping in on the conversation. Is Donte going to fill the movement shooter role in the starting lineup? Again, thanks for your comments. If you're watching, feel free to leave a comment. I think so. I particularly when Mike Conley is a little more of a guy who just needs to catch and shoot. He doesn't move that much. He's not too aggressive. You're not going to get Mike Conley on a back cut to score a basket. I think that Donte gives you way more versatility. I think just in terms of attacking, I think they're worried a little bit about what they lost in Nickeil Alexander-Walker, someone who could make plays off the bench, someone who could attack the rim. I mean, there were times the second unit, other than Nas, where no one could really attack the rim. So I think this gives the starting lineup more attacking. I think it gives it opportunity for Donte to get hot quicker. I think that's potentially maybe coming cold off the bench. I mean, let's be honest. Naz Reid is amazing coming cold off the bench and just knocking down a three. You see it so much last year. I think that's a talent of his that not a lot of people can do. Coming cold off of the bench, there's something to warming up, going through the national anthem, sitting for in real time is 20 minutes, and then coming off and having to hit a three immediately. I think there's something to warming up, national anthem, tip the ball off, let's go. I think there's something to that rhythm, and I'm hoping that Donte DiVincenzo benefits from starting, which, like we mentioned, he did say that he wanted to do. He did say that I want to start last year. Now, I don't know how vocal that was. I don't know how public that was, but it did leak. It made sense, particularly coming off of a year where, he was a lot of the offense for the New York Knicks that 1 year. But kind of the main guy and kept them afloat. It's interesting. Chris brings us up all the time. Donte DiVincenzo and Julius Randle have both had years with the New York Knicks where they were the main guy and had to basically orchestrate most of the offense. It was the year before last with Donte, and then the year before that with Julius Randle. So, we got two guys from New York that I think are going to fit in great. We traded one starter who's great, although it did came out that Side note here, the Knicks did say, or it came out in the media, that Karl Anthony Towns is questioning his role in Larry Brown or Mike Brown's offense. So that'll be an interesting piece to try to fit in there. I know they play an MSG tonight to open up the season against the Cleveland Cavaliers, but I'm excited for Donte DiVincenzo. I'm excited to see this team play together in the way that they know how to. We saw it ended last year 17-4, and then went in a playoff run. Just ran into the buzzsaw that was the Golden State Warriors, which will excuse me, the Oklahoma City Thunder. Which, as we saw last night, Oklahoma City, they can shoot like 20% from three, be missing one of their best players, an all NBA level player, miss a ton of free throws, and they can still, with their defense and just will and just guys filling in, they can still get it done against a contender in the Houston Rockets. So, man, I'm excited for the season to start. The only thing I'm not excited for is that we have to start on the West Coast. That's a little disappointing to me. I don't know about you, but I work early in the morning. I start my day at 7 a.m. So when the game goes till 11:30, and then of course, excuse me, on occasion I'll want to do a post game podcast, particularly if something big happens. I mean, once I get it online and edited, that gets closer and closer to midnight, 12:30. But anyway, I'm not complaining. Wolves basketball is back. Again, the big news, Donte DiVincenzo into the starting lineup, Mike Conley out of the starting lineup. I want to give a shout out to our sponsor, 612 Tees. They make awesome looking tees. As you can see, it's streaming on the bottom. 612 Tees. Use promo code RUN25. Now that says RUN 25%. It's actually RUN25. And get 25% off your first order at 612tees.com. And if you just use the link in the description, which isn't there yet if you're watching live, I'm going to add it after. If you use the link in the description, it'll automatically be applied. So run 25 at 612tees.com. I'm excited for the Wolves tonight. Hopefully Ant plays, but if he doesn't, let's have a Julius Randle 57 points tonight. I know the Knicks lost that game to Taurean Prince. I know, but I mean, I would love to see Randle go off. I would love to see Randle go off. I can't wait to watch this team. Maybe even Berenger gets in tonight. I doubt it. I highly doubt it, but maybe. We saw the Oklahoma City Thunder play that rookie from Northwestern. And if the Oklahoma City Thunder could play the rookie from Northwestern, then, and now it was like for 3 minutes. It was for filling minutes. But if again, I don't even remember his name. But if they can do that, maybe we throw in some Berenger minutes. Who knows? Rocco Zaccardi, no, he's not going to play tonight. In fact, but he was on the scout the injury report as playing, and then it said face mask. So I don't know if he was getting that tricked out, maybe pimped out. I don't know. But anyway, guys, thanks so much for watching. This is the Running with the Timberwolves YouTube channel. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe on YouTube. Seriously, if you haven't already, please subscribe, because we're trying to get to 400 subscribers. I know it doesn't seem like much, but we're trying to grow. You go from there, you go to 450, then you go to 500, and then into the stratosphere. Please like, share, and subscribe. Let me know your expectation level for this season. And also let me know in the comments as well. Let me know, do you think that Donte DiVincenzo should start, or would you rather have the steady hand of Conley? Let me know. This is the Running with the Timberwolves podcast. Go Wolves. Enjoy tonight. And keep it tuned, because we are going to be doing post-game podcasts. We are going to be all over the Timberwolves. We're working on some live events as well. I'd love to come out and meet you all and talk Wolves with you guys. It's just going to be a fun time. Wolves basketball is back. It's been a long summer. And as always, go Wolves.